Hello dear students, I am Dr. S.Y.B.Sc, Associate Professor, Department of Geography. Dear student, I welcome all of you in this online video lecture series on behalf of Maratha Vidya Prasar Samajas, Charity Arts, BH Commerce and AM Science, popularly known as KTHM College Nasik. Dear student, today in this our S.Y.B.Sc class, semester 4, we have a paper Environmental Geography Part 2 and the paper code is GG-241. Today in this lecture we are going to discuss our first chapter, that is Environment Impact Assessment, and for today's lecture we have a subtopic meaning and definition of environmental impact assessment. Dear student, in our last lecture we have discussed about the syllabus of our subject in detail. For today's lecture, we have study objective or learning objective that is very simple to discuss meaning and definition of environment impact assessment. Dear student, you know that environmental impact assessment is very important decision making tool. Environmental impact assessment is one of the successful policy innovation of the 20th century for environmental conservation. Dear student, the first time the information about the environmental impact assessment was given by Rachel Carson when he published his very important book, The Silent Spring, in 1962 in America. And in this book, he wrote detailed information about the environmental impact assessment. The first time environmental impact assessments was implemented in USA, and later on it was also implemented in the numbers of the country in the world, even in India also, but it was too late. Dear student, the Rachel Carson given detailed information about this process in his books, in which the harmful effects of pesticides were first brought to attention of the public, is often credited for launching the modern environmental movement. So first time he given the detailed information about this process. Dear student, and this was the base for this was the foundation laid down by Richard Carson about the environmental impact assessment. The environmental impact assessment as a mandatory regulatory procedure originated in early 1970s with the implementation of the National Environment Policy Act, that is NEPA, in 1969 in USA. Dear student, this was the period, the early period of the environmental impact assessment that was developed in America, and this policy is very important. National Environmental Policy Act is very important because this policy help to implement the environmental impact assessment not only in USA but after each and every part of the world. Dear student, the first comprehensive environmental regulations, Section 102 in United States, came into the force on 4 January 1970 in the form of National Environmental Policy Act, that is NEPA. So from this day, from the 4th January 1970, it was compulsory to major project or all other project that might have a impact on the environmental quality and the environmental balance of that particular region. Dear student, a large part of the initiative development took place in countries like Canada, Australia and New Zealand. It was the period of 1973 and 1974. Dear student, if you're talking about the India, with respect to the India, the Indian experience with the environmental impact assessment began over 40 years back. It was started in 1976-1977 when the Planning Commission asked the Government of Science and Technology to examine the River Valley project from the environmental angle. Dear students, this is a very important event if you're talking about the history of Indian environmental impact assessment, because first time it was forceful, started in India in 1976 and 77, and yes, the credit goes to Planning Commission because they requested the Department of Science and Technology to examine the River Valley project of India that was started in same period, and they request to them to examine this all the River Valley project from an environmental angle. If there will be any side effect or negative effect observed with case of this project, then definitely they try to minimize this side effect. And yes, it is very important. We want to development, economic development, but simultaneously we also require the environmental balance, because both should be go simultaneously in our country. So therefore, this is very important. An environmental impact assessment is commonly described as an assessment of the impact of planned activities on the environment, including impact on the biodiversity, vegetation, forest, ecology, water, and air quality. This is very important. Dear student, when you started any new project, it may be the construction of dam, it may be the construction of the bridge, construction of the mining, construction of the any thermal power project, or maybe any other project. That time we have to keep in our mind there should not be any negative impact on our surrounding biodiversity, vegetation, ecology, water. I'm talking about the groundwater as well as surface water, air quality, and all various part of the environment. So for this purpose, this environmental impact assessment is very important. And dear student, recently the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change of India has published the draft Environment Impact Assessment Notification 2020 with the intention of replacing the existing Environment Impact Assessment Notification 2006 under the Environment Protection Act 1986. Dear student, what do you mean? Means now a government of India has made or published the new draft for environmental impact assessment in 2020, but the base for this draft is that whatever the rules and all the information was given in notification of 2006 under the Environmental Protection Act 1986. That was the main base. On the base of they changed some important changes in this process and they published for the India. Dear student, let us discuss few definition of environmental impact assessment. If you see the meaning of this word environmental impact assessment, it's a very simple meaning. Environmental means related to the environment. Impacts mean when you started any project. I just mentioned few names. It may be the construction of the dam, it may be the construction of the mining, it may be construction of the bridge, or maybe the thermal power project. So when we are going to start this project, then there should be the assessment, or there should be the evaluation what type of the impact it will be put on our surrounding environment. I just talking about the ecology and the various factor of the environment. So when we do such type of the assessment evaluation, we predict what time, if we started this project, implemented this project, then what will be impact on our environment. Then this evaluation, this assessment is known as environmental impact assessment. This is the very simple meaning of these words. Let us see the one very important definition that was given by the Wood in 2003. Environmental impact assessment, that is EIS, is a systematic and interrogative process for considering possible impact prior to a decision being taken on whether or not a proposal should be given approval to proceed. See, this is a very important definition. Dear student, you see some very important keyword of this definition. First is the systematic. Systematic means when this process is implemented, that time there is a sequence. They follow the sequence. On the basis of this sequence, they started the evaluation of this project. That is very important. Then integrative means there should be when we carried out this process of the evaluation of the environmental impact assessment, that time what is we should take into consider all the factors that are related to each other it may be the part of the environment, it may be the part of the society, it may be the part of the development, it may be the part of the other things. But when we evaluate these things, we started the evaluation of this project, that time we keep all these points in your mind, and then we started our process of evaluation. Then considering the possible impact prior to decision being, means when we have to take the decision whether that project should be continued or not. So on the basis of this assessment evaluation, we can able to take the decision. So for that, but the decision is totally depend on your assessment, your evaluation process. If when we evaluate the project and if there is a side effect, is negative effect on the environment too much, then definitely we are not going to approve this project. But yes, if in the future we able to minimize the impact of the this project on the environment, then definitely on the basis of some term and condition, they can give the approval to proceed the project. So in this definition, we would mention very important things, very important keywords, and the whole process, what he expected, what is the nature of the environmental impact assessment that he mentioned in his definition. Then one simple definition, that environmental impact assessment is a systematic process of identifying future consequences of a current or the proposed action. See, again, this is a very simple actually this is a definition is very small, but see, the meaning of the definition is very important. What does it mean? The environmental impact assessment is a systematic process. Again, it is a systematic process because we have to follow some sequence. If we not follow the sequence, then definitely our evaluation might be wrong. And for what purpose? To identifying the future consequence of the current or the proposed action. It may be any project already working in any region, but we have to assess this project time to time, because it may be possible in the early assessment we predict some very what you can just soft impact on the environment, but it may be possible in future the intensity of that project might be the increase. I'm talking about the environmental point of view. There may be some many harmful impact we will observing in that area. So if the current project is on, then we also have to take the assessment from time to time. If it is good, there is no any side effect, then definitely we can continue this project. But if you observe any very harmful impact of this project on the environment, then government can be stop this project. So therefore, in this definition, both things are they explained. What they are, they talking about the current project and also the proposed action about this project. So this is also very important definition. Another definition, very comprehensive definition. This is the best definition for each and every part of the words. That definition is given by UNEP, define environmental impact assessment, that is EIA, as a tool used to identify the environmental, social, economic impact of the project prior to decision making. It aims to predict environmental impact at an early stage in the project planning and design, find a way and mean to reduce adverse impact, shape project to suitable environment, and present the predication and option to decision makers. See, what a great definition. And really, each and everything what we are expected in this process, each and everything they are included in this comprehensive definition. See again, what are the keywords of this definition? The first thing, it is a tool. Yes, it is a tool. Early part of the lecture, I already mentioned this word. That is, it is a tool. Yes, it is a very important tool. For what purpose? To identify the environmental impact. See, then social impact, then economic impact. These three impact. They are talking about the environmental impact, social impact, and economic impact of that project. And this is very important for the decision making, because on the basis of this impact, we can able to take our final decision. It aims to predict environmental impact at an early stage. See, when the project is implemented step by step, that time it may be in one phase, second phase, third phase. For each and every phase, what will be the impact of the that project on the environment that are expected in this definition. Find the ways and means to reduce the adverse impact. See, again here is very important. If you find some harmful impact of that project on the environment, then we can reduce the adverse effect of that project on the environment by altering source, or maybe by applying the many measures to control the intensity of that problem that we are going to observe in our environment, and save the project to suit the local environment. That is very important. As per what type of the local environment is available on with respect to the environment, we have to redesign the project, whether it is a continue in the future or not. So for that purpose, that we have to keep in your mind the local environment of that project, and present the prediction and the option to decision maker, and we can give the option for it may be possible by using the some option. If we are able to minimize the intensity of the project, then that we can do. So this about the very detailed process. Dear student, another definition of environmental impact assessment is as the systematic identification and the evaluation of potential impact, that is EPIC, of proposed project, plan, program to the physical, chemical, biological, culture, and socio-economic component of the total environment. See, dear student, this definition is something different than previous. Because why? Because when we are talking about the impact of that project, that time we have to assess the impact of this project on the physical environment, on the chemical environment, on the biological environment, on the cultural environment, and last but not the least, the socio-economical condition of the society is also important. We have to evaluate, assess this project with respect to the physical environment, chemical environment, biological environment, cultural environment, and the socio-economic environment. That is very important that we expect it. Another definition, the environment impact assessment is a process of evaluating the likely environmental impact of the proposed project or the development, taking into account interrelated socio-economic, cultural, and the human health impact, both beneficial and adverse. So in this definition, one new thing is added, that is human health impact. That is also important, because the life of human being is very important. If we continue the development project, and if they are continuously they impact on the human health, then that will be not useful for the human being. So that time we have to keep in our mind, when you assess the project, that time we also think about the human health, because that is very important part. On the basis of all this definition, we can conclude some important feature of the characteristics of the environmental impact assessment. See, the first, environmental impact assessment link environment with the development for environmentally safe and sustainable development. That is very important. When we run any project, implement any project with help of the environmental impact assessment, then yes, that will be the useful for the ecological balance, useful for the human sustainable development or economic sustainable development. Then definitely, then it will be helpful for us. It is a systematic evaluation of all significant environmental consequences. Then it is a structural, systematic, and comprehensive approach. It is a process which forces developer to reconsider the proposal. It is a process leading to a statement to guide decision making. That is very important, because when it will be possible, yes, it is possible when you complete the environmental impact assessment of that particular project. Then we can do these things. Then it is a process which has a potential to increase developers' accountability to the public. That is very important things. It is the study of the proposed development project on the environment. It consider both environmental and economic cost and benefit, and on the basis of this economic and environmental cost analysis, we can able to take the decision whether this project we should continue or we should stop. And dear student, it is a predictive mechanism and estimate the change in the quality of the current environment as a result of the proposed action. Dear student, this was about today's lecture. We try to define the meaning and the definition of environmental impact assessment. In next lecture, we are going to discuss about the nature and scope of environmental impact assessment.